Okay, let's go. Let's get the show on the road. Welcome back to Who the Heck Are We? So again, Sir J De La Cruz and I this time around. No Claudia Perrine, unfortunately, and Lance Fernandez due to personal
Yeah, we're couples.
reasons.
We're couple.
De tag team tayo, Sir J. Just
We're
like
tag team.
WWE, right? I wish the
Yeah.
belt behind me, for those checking out the videos, a WWE tag team belt, but it's world heavyweight. So anyway, our distinguished guest, who the heck is Simen Lyngbø? What's up, Simon? How are you doing? Thanks
Woo!
for coming on.
Woo!
I'm fine. Thank you for having me.
So Jay, right before we
Wait,
hit,
take note.
yes,
That's a pretty cool background right there. If you have their Simon, you have fruits right there, and the house that you're in right now looks so boring. Where in the hell are you, man?
Right now, I'm back in Norway for off season, so I'm in my parents' house right now.
Oh,
Yeah, so
wow,
back in cold Norway.
wow,
cold
Norway.
Norway.
Is this correct? This is the first time we have a guest that's actually overseas, diba? Foreign level na tayo,
Tama
man.
Jay, that's true. Because we had everyone, of course, via Zoom, but it's the first time that we got someone via Zoom overseas. So ayun.
Yeah.
Simon, you have that honor. Okay.
It's an honor to be the first guest overseas.
Yeah. So we have Matt of Stallion, and who's also my colleague in my day job, and he had the honor of being the first guy to curse on the show. You're the first to be in the show overseas. So, and again, who the heck is Simon Lingbo? Let's find
Yes,
out.
but yeah. Let's talk
Okay.
about what sino ba talaga? Who exactly is Simon Lingbo?
That's true. So Simon, of course, so you suited up for the Azkals Development Team in the 2020 PFL campaign. So I think that was about November.
That's
Um,
correct. That's correct.
and you guys finished number 3 out of the 6 teams. You guys were such a young team. I think some guys weren't expecting you to finish high up the table, but you guys did great. How was the campaign for you in your eyes, maybe?
In my opinion, it was really good, and I was really happy about that we were able to actually play the league at the end, because we were supposed to start in March, April, but then of course the pandemic hit and it affected everybody. But I think the commissioner and the whole league did a very good job to be able to push this through. And from my point of view, it was fun, and also we got some good challenging games that you could see from our first 2 games, especially because they're the top 2 teams in the country. So for us, it was a good learning curve, and we also managed to perform as well. So we were happy about that, even though we could have been getting some points out of the Kaya and United City game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it
Grabe
Well,
was
no,
good
actually,
for
Jay.
us.
Now that
oh well,
just branching out of
actually,
that, Simon,
oh,
you faced the top 2 teams in the country, and I think that was your first taste of football in the Philippines. Because I know you trained with the Azkals over at Thailand, but this was like an official game or official games.
the first
How was the
competition.
level for you? Were you a bit shocked about maybe a different style of play? And then let's get to you, Jay, afterwards.
Uh,
Um, I've been done some research before the league started. Been watching all of the highlights from the 2019 campaign of the
Mm-hmm.
PFL and Copa Alcantara. So I knew a bit what was coming at us, but at the same time, the playing style over in Asia and maybe especially the Philippines, it's a bit different from here in Scandinavia. In Scandinavia, it's more physical football with strong and tall players, but here in Asia, it's very technical and fast-paced. So that's maybe the biggest difference I noticed during the league.
Very
that's
interesting
great. But
answer to hear from
yeah,
you. You're saying, Jay?
yeah, but again, he mentioned about the challenge and add to that challenge that it's in your first competition, local competition here in the Philippines, you get to play it inside a bubble environment. First off,
Mm.
can you
Mm-hmm.
describe your bubble experience back last year with the ADT?
Yeah, of course, the bubble setup is quite new for everybody, I guess, because this is the
Yeah.
first time such a thing has happened. So it started all with everybody getting tested 3 days before checking into the hotel. Um, And then once we arrived at the hotel, there was a new COVID testing and so on. So there was a lot of strict rules we had to follow and guidelines during our stay at the hotel. We were not allowed to leave the room unless we were getting treatment or we were out for trainings and games. So it was very strict, and if you didn't follow the protocols, there would be consequences, I guess, because to try to keep the hotel COVID free.
Yeah, just
You get
curious.
the
How
red
many
card.
times were you tested already?
Yeah, Jay's question.
How many times have you tested already?
I think in total, I've been tested 10 times.
Wow.
Okay, 10
So
times.
you never get used to the feeling of the Q-tip getting into your nose, but I mean,
Wow.
it gets less comfortable. But
That seems so painful. 10 times. 5 is painful already. I have 5 COVID tests in my lifetime right now. And you're right. The feeling, we'll never get used to that feeling. Really uncomfortable.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just to share, Simon, because Jay was in the PBA bubble over in Clark.
Oh, okay.
So
But I'm a technical official.
yes, he's an announcer. It was
So I
very
knew the
interesting,
technical experience.
Simon. You were able to count the number of times you got a COVID test because we were talking to Jovin Bidik during the bubble and he lost track.
Yeah.
Diba, Jay, nakalimutan niya. He forgot.
Yeah. Dude was so uncomfortable. He wanted to forget those COVID tests. But we have to do it over and over again, right? Like you said, to protect that environment, COVID free.
Exactly.
Anyway,
So-
I'm trying to remember the number of times so I can tell my grandkids in the future that this is what I had to go through when I was at your age.
That is true. That is true.
Interesting.
But
huh?
again, yeah. But again, the good thing is you didn't let the pressure of that being in that bubble get in your game. Really, I mean, for sure it's tough, right? I mean, you only had like, even though it's for 2 weeks or 3 weeks inside the bubble, but still, it's a different feeling if you are in the game. Then after the match, you got to go home, get some rest, get to recharge. But here in this environment, you get to the game, you get to the match, then you come back in a hotel. You're away from your, comfort zone. So
And
how's
then
the
you get your
feeling?
nose poked. Diba, Jay?
Yeah,
Exactly. Yes, that's one more thing.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
how's the
it's-
feeling like?
I mean, there's some long days because you're only out of the hotel room when you're going for training. So that's the highlight of the day. But I mean, you just need to find some ways to kill time to spend your day. So me and my roommate were often playing PlayStation, maybe watching some TV series, something like that. And you just need to be able to entertain yourself also, because you're spending maybe 16 hours a day in the room.
Yeah. Yeah. So one last bubble question. What was your pastime back then there?
What was
What
my,
is your pastime?
my pastime?
Pastime, Jay?
Yeah. Your pastime during the bubble. What do you usually do there? Do you find- do you
Yeah, what kept you
play with
busy?
your teammates right there? What keeps you busy?
I played a lot of Call of Duty.
Okay.
So yeah, doing that one, watching Netflix, and of course doing recovery work with my air relax boots, stretching, going to the physiotherapist and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Before we
pretty productive.
jump over, who was your roommate? Yeah.
That's one
Marvin
thing.
Angeles.
Ah, Marvin, yes. That's great, you being paired up with a veteran like him, because he suited up for the Archers right before he jumped over to ADT. Because we got guys like Enrique Ortiz of Maharlika. He and Chris Lawless, they also brought a PlayStation. And then we got Matt Nieras. He brought his work to the bubble
Okay.
to be able to juggle things. So that's interesting. We got to see so many different aspects or approaches in the PFL bubble. But let's try to find out maybe about your roots. So how did you find out maybe about the Philippine national team? Because we know that you visited the country a number of times for vacation, I suppose, with your mom and your dad. But when it's for football, it's like a whole different thing. You're there
Yeah, I
to
want
work.
to hear that.
Yeah. How did you find out about the national team maybe and the ADT? Because you are a candidate, of course, and they're eligible to suit up. for the senior national team of the Philippines, the Azkals.
Yeah, the first time I actually noticed the national team was when I was in the Philippines for a vacation, I think 2010. And then I went to the SM store with my cousin, and then we actually saw some Azkals jerseys hanging in the clothing rack. So that's my first exposure for the national team. But after that, it was quiet for a while because I wasn't really able to go to the Philippines that much when I got older because of football, and I only had 1 week vacation, and that's obviously not enough to go to the Philippines.
Yeah.
And then they hired Sven-Göran Eriksson as a head coach before the Asian Cup, and that blew really up here in Norway as well because he's a very famous football person. And it was after that I got in touch with the management of the Azkals, and then we spoke, got to know each other better, and then they called me up for the training camp in 2019 March. And since that, we've just been in touch all the way. And then when my contract expired here in Norway, they also offered me to come over to the Philippines to play for ADT and to play in the PFL. And I thought, why not? I've been in my former club for 7 years, I think. So it was time for a change and to get into a new environment and everything, and also to work with Coach Scott, which is really good.
About that story with the team finding you, did they send you an email, or did someone like Boss Dan or Coach Scott fly over to Norway? Because we hear different stories, like maybe guys like OJ Porteria, a friend of the show, said that Nate Berkey went up to him because they live in the same state in the USA. How was it for you, perhaps?
I don't really remember, but one thing I remember is that my transfer market profile and my video was exposed to one of those Filipino football pages at Facebook. And then
yes.
From that on, we got in touch with the management.
Yeah, that's great that we have pages like that. No, Jay, you were saying?
Yeah, that's one thing social media and those stuff can do, man. Like it will give you that necessary exposure that you need. But let me get this one clear. You're 21, 20 or 22 years old, right?
22 years old.
Yeah, you're 22 years old, but you mentioned you've been in your club for like 7 years already. So you've been playing this beautiful game you've been pro since you were a teenager, like, right?
Yeah, I signed my first pro contract when I was 18, and before that one, I also was training with the first team and so on. So I've been inside the professional game, even though my professional contract first came at 18. But yeah, been there for quite a bit.
My goodness,
that's a long time. A lot of experience.
It's actually a rarity to hear here in the Philippines that we have teenagers having their professional contracts before the age of 20. So it's just amazes me to hear such words.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think it's one thing with the system also, with the professional system abroad. That's why we see so many young guys, they get exposed so early, age 18, you're already signing a professional contract. This year, I think the structure is a bit different, but we know people have been critical. But I think Simen just shows, of course, that how you're able to get the most out of a system like that, no? But
yeah, that's true.
We carry on with your pro career. I think the club that you played for before the ADT, is that pronounced as Barum? Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, I read it really differently. There are foreign letters that we are not familiar with. That's how you pronounce it. Barum.
Barum. Yeah, Barum. That's right.
Yeah.
Jay, we got to know that as venue announcers eventually. Pronunciation.
Yeah, that's the toughest task. I hate that part. You got to do it. Somebody's got to do it.
I enjoy it, honestly. Yeah, perhaps you could tell us that jump when you started to play pro, because I know that you're still quite young, but you already made 35 appearances in top flight in Norway with your former club.
Yeah, it started. I was starting to play for that club when I was 15 years old. That's when I signed for Barum with their youth system. And then when I turned 16, 17, I was starting to play with the reserves team, the under 23. And
Big gap.
from that one, yeah, I
Nice.
was playing with under 19s and under 23. And then time passed by and I was starting to train with the first team as well. I think I had my first team training when I was 17. Yeah. And then I was moved up to the first team at 18. Yeah, and signed my first professional contract and then played there before I went over to the Philippines.
Mhm. How is it being within that club maybe, and then you keep transitioning? Oh, I'm going to maybe the U17, and then now, oh, it's time to jump to U23, and then next thing you know, you're in the senior team. Was it like being in a foreign land for you every time? Like things are just so new with the atmosphere?
With from under 15s to under 19s and under 23s, that's maybe a bit foreign land, you can say, because there's a lot of new players that you don't know that well because you haven't played with them that much. But when you're in with the under 23s, you're often with the same people that's in the first team, because in Norway, usually the ones that's playing under 23s are the players who didn't start the last first team game, and some of the under 19 players. So it's a mix.
So
So
it's a
when you're with, yeah,
I think it's a testament on the kind of work that you put, because the transition happens so quickly. It must be a sign that you are kicking ass back in that team. That's why you get to another advanced age group. That's why you made it quickly to the seniors team, because I think you're just really way ahead of your peers. I mean, I want to know what kind of work that you put in during your stint in Norway that made that transition really fast for you. And you've mentioned you already made your you started your pro career at the age of 18.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of many hours on my own on the pitch and also in the gym. When I was 15, I got into this school named Norwegian High School of Elite Sports. It's like a school where you need to apply to get in, and then you have to go for tryouts and stuff like that. And there we usually are training in the morning with professional coaches in school time. And then we have classes during the day. And after that one, we're going with our club team to have trainings in the afternoon. So to be able to have that for 3 years during high school, it was top class, because the morning trainings, you were able to focus on what you needed yourself with positional stuff, for example, or individual technical training, stuff like that, with good coaches and good classmates. And then when you got to your club trainings in the afternoon, you were focusing on the team. So to be able to have 2 football sessions a day, put up in a way that you can perform at your best, I think that was a big key factor for me.
So elite training,
Yes, I'm actually blown away, Claro, by Simon's story, because again, we don't have that in the Philippines right here. But if we have that, I mean, we can also have elite athletes that we can develop even at that early age. But man, I'm just really blown away by the program that you went through during your growing up years. Go ahead, Claro. I'm just really surprised, man. You can see I'm so speechless right now.
That's something we want to see in the Philippines, though, all those sports schools. I think we see some that are potentially coming up in the future, but let's see how things turn out. But given that you had... Yes, go ahead, Jay.
I want to sign, let's see, I be a hypothetical president of the country, and I'm going to sign Simen to be the education secretary and just implement that kind of educational system.
It's like a program director.
You have that morning training in your high school on the sport that you want to play. You can just imagine. You'll also be having professional players at the age of 17 or 18.
That's true. Yeah, that's something we see again in Europe regularly, given their structure. Yeah. Anyway,
it's good, Claro.
Yeah. Speaking of like this top football, any big names or guys you got to encounter? It's like, do you have Haaland there or someone you got to mix up with?
Yeah, you always hear about the Holland stories and stuff, but actually in my school, I just spoke about, I was classmate with this player named Sander Berge. He recently signed for Sheffield United in the Premier League last year for a record fee, I think £20 million, I'm not sure. But we were classmates for like 6 months, so it was really cool to see him taking the next steps and to be able to play in the Premier League. He also scored against Tottenham as well.
Yep.
So he's one guy, and I also played against some really good players. You have Christopher Ayer, centre back for Celtic in Scotland. And a fun story, actually. I think 2 days before we played United City in the PFL, Barcelona played a Champions League game against the Hungarian side Fenervaros. And the striker of Fenervaros, I played against him in 2018. He was the right winger, I was the left back. And we had a lot of one-on-ones against each other. And then he couldn't get past me during the first half before he switched side. So that was a good thing to know. And he got Piqué sent off during that game because he was dribbling him as the last man, and then he was tackled.
Sorry, what
You really
position?
bothered him that match.
What's the position of the guy who got PK sent off again? Sorry.
He was a striker against Barcelona.
Barcelona. Well, you think you're able to stop him on your side? How was your experience playing against him? Yeah.
It was a really tough challenge because that was my first game in the starting 11 that season. Going up, he then played for a top club here in Norway, and we met them in the FA Cup. So going against him was a really good experience, good learning, and also really satisfied that he didn't dribble past me during the first 45. So that's something I always. Yeah, that's great.
You were 19 that time, and you were able to stop that striker. My goodness.
So, but it's really, really cool to see that those players you're playing against have been taking those kind of steps to now playing on the biggest stage of football. It gives you a bit of a good feeling.
Yeah, it shows maybe you get to gauge yourself too, because you see that, oh, I play against this guy who also gets to hold his own against another guy, like even Gerard Piqué. So you get to gauge yourself and see, oh, I think I can actually do this. Did that enter your head that, oh,
yes, and must be a confidence booster.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And it was good timing to get that one just before the season was starting, you know, because we haven't really been playing football for over half of a year because of the lockdown. And then you get that one served on a plate too, then it was perfect.
So we
get
back
in you.
Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, Glado. Oh, okay.
We
so
checked on
back
that.
in Europe, you were relishing your role as a defender, stopping these guys, right? Okay. So yeah, go ahead, Simon.
What did you say? What did you say?
No, you got comfortable in your position as a defender, but back when I saw a glimpse of you in the PFL, you're actually you have a different role in that team. Am I correct?
Yeah, I started the first game against United City as a center midfielder. That was also the plan to play, but then because of some injuries that occurred, we needed to change a bit. And then I was put back in my former position that was fullback, that I'm really comfortable in. Defender. So yeah, exactly. So that was all right.
Yeah. How foreign was it maybe playing center mid in that one game? Because again, you did say you are a right back after all. How different was the feel?
It was quite all right because I played it before. I played it until I was like 14, 15, so I knew I had a base of the position. And also Coach Scott was really good to explain my role, and we've been working a lot on me playing in that position as well. So I felt I was well prepared to play that position, but again, we played against a really good side in EUCFC. And they had, I think, 80% possession that game. So
yeah,
the playing style of us was more like pressing and stuff like that. We didn't really have the ball as much as we wanted, but yeah.
That was a busy game for you guys, I could say.
Yeah, there's a lot of story in that UCFC game. Actually,
The,
on video, on pictures.
everything,
But
Jay.
as well,
Yeah.
I got an impression that people thought that it was going to be a much more even game.
Mhm.
But in my opinion, it doesn't really make sense because we're like a younger team, more inexperienced, and they are like the top guy in the AFC Cup. So it would be like comparing Barcelona with a mid-table European League club on paper. But I mean, I think we gave them a really good fight, even though they had a lot of possession.
Mhm.
But maybe the expectations for us from the outside was a bit high. I don't know. But I felt that we were able to cope with them for a while.
Yeah, I could say so
they're
too.
Yeah, but they're the top they're the one of the top pro teams here in the Philippines, and again,
Not just Philippines, Jay.
yes, in
Yeah.
Philippines and in Asia, actually.
Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
yep.
So it's something that you'd expect from them. They don't see you as they're young guys who just they can just go soft with it. I mean, you're actually the next generation of national players here in the Philippines. So they really have that beat down mentality in their heads right there.
Mm. And it's also good, as Schrock mentioned in some interview, that they didn't take it easy on us because
Yeah.
I think they were aware of that we were able to give them a good fight, and they showed it as well because the intensity in the game was really high from the first kick on the ball.
Mhm.
So it was really good to know that they respected us as an opponent.
Going back to that game, I think in terms of expectations, some people were saying, oh, it's going to be close on paper because these are the best youngsters in the Philippines. And then others were saying, oh, no, UCFC has too much experience. So I think it was a mixed bag heading into that one. But I think you put up a good fight despite not having enough possession. You guys also had some chances on goal, battling Anthony. You guys got to give some trouble, I think, to Anthony Pintos. And I think a guy who was part of the ADT but was on loan with them at that time. But one interesting thing is a lot of us in the outside felt, okay, we know that the ADT could really improve, but they still did quite well against UCFC, a very experienced team. But you go Coach Scott saying, oh, I'm not happy with this game at all. But we see the national team do well, or ADT do well, and Coach Scott goes, oh, we're lacking here and we're lacking there. How does he influence things in your team, maybe? Because, for example, for context, the Azkals drew China 0-0, and we haven't done that, or we haven't made them drop points in so long. And here,
That
Coach
was our
Scott,
standard.
he's not happy. He said we should have won the game. How's that with Coach Scott, maybe?
Yeah, but he's absolutely right, because we felt that we could get something from the game, especially if you look at the chances we are creating towards the end of the game, especially. And I think we started off with a bit of high shoulders. So if we got the UCFC, maybe as a game number 2 or 3 during the league, we might have gotten a result from them. So there's definitely things that we could improve on, even though we did an okay fight with UCFC. I still think that we could have done better, as Coach Scott said. So he's absolutely right in that way. And there's always things to improve on when we're playing. And we could also see that during the campaign, because our results were getting better and better. And also the way we were playing as well, because he was teaching us a lot of stuff, and we really took it into us and tried to show it on the pitch as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think first 2 games, you guys conceded 1 goal each. That totals to 2. And you guys didn't concede anymore in the rest of the tournament. And I think something we can give credit to you and your fellow members of the back line was you guys had the best defense in the league. You're there as the right back, and you had your teammates, of course. You were a guiding force. Could you tell us about your role, maybe as a wing back, as a full back, maybe for those who aren't familiar with football?
So the like in the old days, the defense were only supposed to defend, right? But now the football is evolving, and it's in modern football. It's really usual that the fullbacks on the side are going up and down the line to support the attacks, but also defending as well. So as a fullback, you want to support your winger during the attacks, maybe get in some crosses, overlaps, and stuff like that. But at the same time, you need to be aware of your duties in the defense, because if you run up in the pitch towards the attack, but you're not tracking back again to the defense, then you will struggle, because you will leave a big space open and you will expose your teammates. So it's a really dynamic position where you have to run a lot of times up and down the pitch to be able to support in offense and also in defense.
Yeah.
Kakapagod yan, Jay.
But right now in today's kind of game, you defenders are already reaching beyond that midfield.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're also an option, and actually in a quite radical situation, you can be an option on the offensive, but a surprise option where all of you guys are moving forward, the defense are unaware of it, and it's a risky move that the ball can be passed to you, and then you just launch a shot with goal. Pretty long shot, but it's something that defenses will be caught unaware. So I assume that you have that some kind of play or some kind of tactic that you defenders have that option to try to score. Am I correct?
Yeah, you are. It really depends on the team's playing style, I guess. But a lot of teams likes to go offensively with their fullbacks, as we often did as well. And then you also got some teams that just like to sit back and hold and let the wingers do the job. But I mean, if you're able to outnumber the opponent in the offense with the fullbacks coming up high in the pitch, then you might increase your chances of scoring a goal, because you get more people inside the box, you get more people to attack. And
and just hope that you don't blow that play up, because otherwise you're going to be all running back to your defensive line because someone got away. And you're going to leave your goalkeeper in that island.
Exactly. It's really heavy when you're a fullback, you're going on a run forward, and then suddenly the team loses the ball, and then you got 80 meters to sprint back to your own goal to defend again. That's a heavy one.
Jay, let's sprint 80 meters. Once pagod na tayo, no?
Oh no,
we're tired after 180 meters.
I don't want to do it. You can do it.
I'll do exercise is mighty, of course. Yes. Speaking of that, Simen, you gave us a figure. How many kilometers maybe do you run in a match? Let's say you play the full 90.
Yeah, I've actually used you see the bra looking thing that some players are wearing?
The top players wear them,
yeah. I didn't use it during the PFL, but I used it last season before that. And I think one game I ran, I think it was 12 or 13 kilometers in 90 minutes. And then you have maybe 50 sprints, something like that. So, yeah.
Wow.
It's quite some bit.
Oh, that's a lot of calories, huh? Makes me feel good just hearing that.
Then a sumptuous post-match meal would complete that day. Man.
That's true. I'd be happy to jog 12 kilometers because you guys have the sprinting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but mind you that, again, you're a defender, but actually, I'm just curious, what if your opponents, you're on defense, the offense is doing a corner kick? So what can you actually educate me on how things work on the defensive end for like corner kicks if you're defending?
Yeah, as a defending team on corner kicks, some teams like to man mark, that everybody has one man they have to mark out and defend during the corner kicks. While some other teams like to have something called zonal defending, where you got different zones inside your box that you're focusing on, and then you are leaving the opponent alone, and you're only focusing going after the ball. So that's really up to what the coaches want. But that's the main two different style of defending corner kicks, zonal and man marking.
So, have you tried somehow intercepting a corner kick, a header that is coming your way? So, for at least out jumping your opponent for that
Yeah,
for a header at least.
yeah. If you see the ball coming towards you, you just need to go for it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not the tallest guy on the pitch,
Mhm.
but you
Yeah.
just need to go for it and jump. And I'm lucky that I
You've
have
done it several
good
times.
jumping ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm
I
able
think
to
you've done
cope
it
with the
several
big
times.
players.
You know what's interesting also, since you're talking about height and everything, the ADT, okay, you guys are like a youth development team. What was funny was when the ADT first arrived, everyone was like, damn, these guys are a youth team, but they're the biggest. They were bigger
Yeah.
than the biggest
They're,
players in
they're
Kaya,
the biggest,
UCSC,
the
Menjolas.
bulkiest,
Yes,
the
exactly, Jay.
meatiest, the
Yes.
meatiest,
Sila yung
the
mama.
meatiest.
Yeah, you guys were
Oh,
like the real men there because of size.
Yeah,
Were you shocked maybe like, oh wow, apparently we're a big team. We're taller than everyone. We're more muscular.
yeah, we actually were. We were trying to use that as our advantage in set pieces and stuff like that, because we knew that we had the height and the physicality to win the battles on the ball. So we were trying to use that as well, because you got some big players in Diano, Harvey, Custodio, Chima, Kennedy, Ozuka. So yeah, we were trying to use that to our advantage, and I think we managed to score on some set pieces as well. So it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mind
if you
you,
see
go
this,
ahead, Jay.
yeah, if you see this Azkals development team, if you don't know them, if you see them first, then you might get confused. Like, is this really a football team or an American football team because of their size? I mean, if tackling was legal in football, I mean, you've you've used up that all the substitutions in the match allowed if tackling was legal, because you're able to be tackling everybody, and if they try to tackle you, it's just like, what happened? Just like a fly just bumped into you, right?
Yeah.
Man,
Well,
your team is huge.
yeah,
Anyways, Claro.
speaking of like your physique, and then you guys were pretty good and confident in the way you defend set pieces. We saw, I think you had the goal line clearance that may have been off a set piece, if I was correct. I think that just shows also that people, of course, they tend to look at the attackers and everyone else. But mind you, behind the beautiful fluid attack of ADT, we had their backline. And what was interesting in the backline is, Simon, based on my research, you're the only natural defender there because you're really right back. Harvey played left wing back. We know that he's a winger. And then I think you had Diano and Custodio. I think those guys were attackers in their college days. How was it being with three guys who weren't naturally defenders? Did you like had to guide them some sort?
To be honest, it didn't feel like that, because it felt like you were playing with players that have been playing defense for their whole career. I think they did a really good job, and also the guidance from Coach Scott with helping them out as well. So I didn't really think about them have not been playing defense that much, because I didn't know that when I was coming to the Philippines, and I didn't know much about it during the PFL either, because during trainings we've been training like that for the past few weeks before the bubble. So you didn't get the feeling of them being new to the positions. They played like they've been playing their whole career.
Very
So they
interesting.
did a really good job.
Yeah.
Well, your numbers
Actually
showed
made
it.
your job. Yeah. It
Exactly.
actually made your job a lot easier, because you're that natural defender, and you are teamed up with the guys that aren't actually defenders. But again, you've mentioned that it's like they're natural at what they do, and
Yeah.
makes your job easier, right?
Exactly. They knew what they had to do, and I think we had a good chemistry at the back line. We were able to communicate really well. We were able to support each other really well. Defend, first defender, second defender. So yeah, it worked out really well.
That's good to hear, Claro.
That's actually something great to hear because when we were
Yeah.
looking at the Azkals and all the way up to today, we noticed that we were a bit lacking in the back line. So we see these young guns and we see that oh these guys got our future covered. Before we only used to have Rob Gear playing center back alongside Wani. And then now I think we're starting to get more and more guys.
That's your
So
defense already.
we have our
That was your
future.
defense before.
Yes, the central defenders. But we have another guy. We have Ray Johnson in the Azkals before, and he was a fullback. Simon, I see some similarities maybe. So you're from Norway, he's from Iceland. You guys are both Scandinavian. And Ray also played
Yeah.
for the Philippines back then. So I see, like, I think you kind of have that similarity with how you're hard-nosed on defense and then you charge forward. And when you're charging forward, it starts to change all of a sudden. You see like Ian Ramsey with the way he crosses the ball. You just get to see how different things are. And speaking of Ray Johnson, we had a bunch of players who came from Scandinavian countries. Did you get to hear of them maybe when you figured that, oh, you have your
Yeah.
Filipino roots and you can maybe play for the Azkals one day, which is something we know is your ultimate goal?
Yeah, I've been trying to do some research, and I think Ray Johnson's name came up. But except for that, I haven't seen that much of the Scandinavian Filipino players yet. That's something I'm gonna look up later on. But yeah, it's interesting. It's really interesting with all the Filipino Scandinavian players as well.
Yeah, what's interesting is a lot of them, again, are in defense. We have Michael Falksgaard. I think Mendoza, Kevin Mendoza's, they're Danish, along with guys like Jerry Lucena. So there's something there, Scandinavia, and producing good defenders because we got guys like you.
Yeah, maybe it's because of the playing style here in Scandinavia, which is also really tactical but also physical. So it's kind of natural to develop that defensive side as well. I think.
Yeah.
And of course, you got the fighting spirits of the Scandinavians with the Viking culture. Something like that. I don't know, but yeah, it's maybe something to do with the playing style, I think.
Yeah. It would be interesting to see Ray Johnson and Simon play one-on-one. I don't know what's the actual bet that you're going to do. It's like what kind of pride would be at stake that I was able to prevent you from scoring, or
Oh, looks like we lost Jay, but he's thinking maybe, what do you think if you get to go up against someone like Ray Johnson? And I want to add Dennis Kagara to the mix because I just realized Dennis Kagara is a fullback. And the guy is so strong, it looks like he's committing a foul every time, but he's actually within the limits. He's doing legal shoulder-to-shoulder contacts. Could you imagine yourself maybe pitting yourself against these guys?
Yeah, why not? It's always a good challenge to go up against good players. So yeah, it would be fun, I think.
Oh,
we'd like to see that.
I mentioned,
young Azkals against the OGs coming back. That would be great.
Yes.
That would be great.
Yes,
I'd pay money, big money.
I've mentioned earlier that if you play one-on-one, just one last question about football. If you play one-on-one, for example, like Ray Johnson, what would be more fulfilling for you? That you scored against Ray Johnson, but or you were able to stop Ray Johnson from scoring, knowing that you're a defender.
We had Dennis Kagara also, yeah.
Yes, that is a career. What gives you
It's a
more
hard one.
pride? What gives you more pride as a defender? You were able to score, or you prevent, or you stop the opponent from scoring.
I mean, it's a really good feeling to prevent someone from scoring. For example, with a golden clearance or a last-minute tackle and stuff like that. But I mean, scoring a goal. Football is all about scoring more than your opponent. So I need to go with scoring a goal.
Still, yes, it's still the story at the end of the day. You score.
Yeah. I'd rather win 1-0 than drawing 0-0, for example.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. That's you going up against players who also have a high work rate because that's something you're known for, of course. So, you want to pick up that win. I think You can call that the Lingbo way, which is something you see in your posts, right? That's
Yeah,
your hashtag.
the
Yeah,
Lingbo
it
way.
is.
Yeah. You think you can tell us about your hashtag? How did you get that?
Uh, it's a quite unknown thing. It's nothing that can really define it, but I mean, it's maybe the way I just do things with training, recovery, taking care of my body properly. So just doing the stuff I do properly to make sure that I can perform at my very best each time. So yeah, it's simple as that, I think.
And that Lingbo way, I assume that came from what you saw during your formative years, your high school years. That is something you've developed as you were growing up. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's a good way to say it, actually. How I've been doing things, how I'm doing things like right now.
Yes.
Let your
Yes.
playing do the
So
talking, huh? Yeah.
yes.
For
And
example,
mhm.
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't usually brag that much about what I'm doing, but yeah, let's say you can let the playing do the talking, and hopefully I'll
Mhm.
perform.
And indeed,
Yeah.
ADT did perform, finishing top 3, leapfrogging some guys in the last season. No, but we
Mhm.
carry on. Let's get to know Simen Lyngbø. Off the pitch, you can say, or outside of
Yeah.
football. Mhm. We have
Yeah.
the young
This is
Azkals. You guys, when you were in training camp, I think that was in early 2020. There's a video of you singing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, that is from my first training camp with the national team in Bangkok 2019. So it's like a tradition in every football team that the new players has to perform.
so
So we were told that after training, you new guys have to sing. So we just had to pick one song, and I just remember this one song I did in Barum. So I just chose that one since I knew the text. So the song I chose was "Baby One More Time" by Britney Spears. Quite random, but yeah.
I was about to ask that who among those Azkals on the training camp is trying to mess with you because of that tradition of singing. I want to mess with you with that question, but I don't know about the team. But I assume that's one that's you call initiation within the team if
Yeah.
you're the new guy there. A nice choice of song.
Thank you.
I can't move. I keep laughing.
Uh,
Who was the kuya who annoyed you the most? Like, hey, you gotta sing this right, okay? Or making sure that
yeah,
you applied the Lingbo way
who's
to
that
your
evil?
performance. Yeah. Who was the
Yeah,
mean
who's that
kuya
evil
there?
teammate? Evil team.
Who was the mean older brother in the Azkals?
No, there were no mean older brothers because I think it was quite good environment. They were like looking after us new guys and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
they were really welcoming, and it was also good to have some Scandinavian friends there as well because the transition was easier.
Yeah.
So you met
Yeah.
with Falkisgard, Mendoza Hansen, Amin Nasari. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
You have a
one
bunch
last
of
thing.
guys. You all know.
Yeah. Mentioning about that last time, one more about that Azkal thing. They had a good transition, right? I mean, from the veterans were able to accommodate you up until their last match, and you guys were already on training, but your seniors are still there, right? Your
Yeah,
seniors are still there to guide you.
yeah, they were there, and I think there was a lot of new people, players there during that training camp in Bangkok.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So it was really to get to know each other and stuff like that, like an introduction to the national team setup. So we didn't play any friendlies, but we did a lot of trainings together. So yeah, it was a good way to get to know the system, the people working with the national team, the players in the national team. So it was a good learning experience for everybody.
Mhm. But before we like end your Azkals talk, maybe we know that your ultimate goal is to get called up for the Azkals. In 2021, we have some upcoming tournaments, hopefully the World Cup qualifiers and the AFF Suzuki Cup. What will it take for you maybe to get a crack at your first cap with the Azkals?
I mean, I just need to continue to work hard, perform in every training, every game. And be consistent. I think that's a big point in football now. You need to perform consistent at a high level day in and day out for a long period of time. So yeah, I think that's the main points for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we were talking about you off the pitch. The singing brought us to football. Interestingly, yeah. Well, it's again going back outside of football. So you're saying that bandy is something you played, and this is like a version of ice hockey in Europe, if I'm right.
Yeah, it's really popular in Scandinavia as well in Russia, and I know the US are also implementing the sport. So bandy is kind of like ice hockey, but it's on a football-sized pitch with almost the same rules as football, but you're using a stick and you're playing with the ball of the size of a tennis ball. So yeah, I used to play that combined with ice hockey during my younger days, until I was 15, 16, I think. And I actually was with the national team of Norway when I played bandy.
Okay.
So I managed to get some caps there. So it was good to combine different kind of sports earlier on.
What
I think that is some kind of sport that we need to tackle in the future, right? And we can have Simen again to talk about that, because that's the first time I've heard about it, and I actually wanted to Google it right now. What kind of sport is that? But I know it's something that we cannot play here in the Philippines, because you know the weather here, Simen, here in the Philippines.
No, Jay.
It's something that you guys in Norway doesn't have.
We can go ice skating. We have SM.
Yeah.
We have our skating rinks. Yes. Just don't ask about my skating skills.
The climate makes it different, man.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
But anyways, Simen, talk about family here in the Philippines. But make no mistake about it, you're in Norway, but you have a Filipino mom, right? That's where the Filipino roots come from.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about your family here in the Philippines.
Yeah, I have a lot of family in the Philippines, and I also have a lot of Filipino family in Norway, because there's a big, we're a really big family, and I got my titos and titas here in Norway as well in the Philippines. I got cousins. So we're a really big group of Norwegian Filipinos here. And also I have a big family back in the Philippines, with them living in Pasig as well as Antipolo.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So my mom is Pasigueño.
So I was about to ask that your mom is from Pasig, right? Or Antipolo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she's from Pasig.
Yeah.
So those are your
Claro
roots.
always asks this question. Yeah. Claro always asks this question about mothers of our guests. So Claro.
Okay.
I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah, we got so many good versions actually. So do you have any Pinoy moments maybe? I don't know. Maybe it's your mom getting mad at you. OJ Porteria said his mom would hit him with a back scratcher. Am I right, Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jason Perkins, all of his trophies and medals are in his mom's house. So when she plays mahjong, she goes to her friends. Pre-COVID, of course, she goes, those are my son's awards. Here, and here. Showing it. Did I miss any, Jay? Yeah. Do you have any
I just
moments?
wonder if your mom had that Filipino mom moments.
Yeah, I can start off with the trophies. My mom, after I went to the Philippines, and when I go back here now, I saw that we have a new cabinet inside our living room with all of my medals, trophies, pictures, news articles inside. So I was a bit shocked when I got home. It was like this when you got through the front door.
It's a Filipino Mom Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly.
The Wall of Fame. Anyways, and then some other else like disciplining stuff.
Yeah, it's typical when I was younger. When I did something I was not supposed to do, it wasn't really a punishment because we didn't get that far. But the typical thing was like counting to 3, like come here now or else. Isa, dalawa. And you never got to tatlo because then I was running.
That's the fullback skills applied, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't reach 5? Because you can say at least, if she would count until 5, oh, mom, at least you reprimanding me taught me to count until 5 in Filipino, in a new
Well,
language.
tatlo seems like hell already.
Yes,
Yeah. So
See?
on dalawa, I was running.
already. That's tough. That's tough, Jay. 3 counts only. Hindi naman to wrestling eh. This is not wrestling.
Well,
I'll
I think
mention
he
it
would have.
later when she gets home.
Mm.
She's giving me until 5.
Yeah, say Jay and I, born and raised here, we think it should be until 5.
Yeah, I'll tell her.
Yeah.
No, but imagine Simon actually used it in his playing career. He doesn't have to wait for 3 to get to a place, right? I mean, he doesn't have to wait for the 3 count to get onto his spot at the right corner, right wing, diba? So it was used. It was used so well, and you were trained by your mother.
Yeah.
Great.
The quick first step. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, Jovin, Jay just mentioned, is to share with Simon. With Jovin, said he got spanked in the head with a slipper. So that actually made him a strong person, high tolerance
Yeah.
for pain. Because we know Jovin, he's such a big guy who's great at the
Yeah.
ball. Yeah. Okay, to that's
Yeah,
one thing.
it really reflects on it. It does somehow apply. It will really apply to what you're gonna do in the future, right? So we have to ask this, Simon, since you're Filipino. So food.
Yes. Before we wrap up, then we had to the
Yeah.
quick fire round.
Yeah.
Mm.
The memorable Filipino foods that you have, especially what your mom cooks.
Jollibee.
Oh, Jollibee, yeah. Straight
No,
to the point.
joke lang.
Joke lang. Ah.
But-
Chicken tocino is my favorite, I think.
Chicken tocino
With garlic rice.
with garlic rice. Okay. That's
Chicken
a
tocino,
sleeper.
garlic rice.
That's a sleeper, Jay. Not everyone says tocino. Normally, they go adobo, lechon. Well, lechon is Spanish, but it's in our culture already. Chicken tocino is a sleeper.
Oh.
With the garlic rice, it's perfect. It's fried, right?
But yes,
Mm,
have you
yeah.
tried that on a breakfast as a breakfast meal? That chicken tocino
Yeah.
with garlic rice and egg. Man, you gotta try that. That's a breakfast of champions right there. Even though some
That's top
people would
class.
say, yes, that even though some people would say, why are you eating rice again in the morning? Diba? that would ruin your body mass index or whatever they
Yeah.
say, right?
I really don't eat that much rice, especially not for breakfast, but
Mm.
for dinner I eat rice, of course, because it's a part of the Filipino culture and that's what I've
Mhm.
grown up with.
Mm.
But yeah, during the lockdown I cooked a lot of chicken tocino. Then I changed the rice with pasta. I don't know if that's allowed to say, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, carbs.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, you could try a variety of things
Mhm.
with chicken tocino, but I mean, man, if you have that chicken tocino, then you pair it with garlic fried rice, then you put a deep fried sunny side up egg. Breakfast for champions. You call it tosilog here.
Okay. Yeah.
Tosilog.
Tocino, sinangag, itlog.
Yeah. We'll get you some tosilog when you come back here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Save that.
for
Mark
sure.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course the Jollibee too. Of course.
Chicken Joy, yeah.
Oh.
You just throw
Oh,
that in the hat,
chicken.
of course.
Oh.
Yes. Anyway, yeah. Every day is carbo load day if you are a Filipino because we eat rice. Of course. Yeah. So anyway, before we conclude with Bandy, he said he suited up internationally. Was that the World Cup maybe or some sort of tournament against Scandinavian countries? Before we go to the quick fire round.
Yeah, it was the under 17s World Cup. So you're correct on that one. So it was a good experience as well because even though it's not football, you got the same setup as it would be in an international tournament with checking into the hotels, the preparations pre-game, post-game, stuff like that. So it was quite fun. It's a good experience as well.
And we're sure Coach Scott and Boss Dan know that, okay, Simon has experience playing internationally. Okay, it's in a different sport, but he's familiar with the atmosphere and everything. So I think you didn't have much of a learning curve, or it wasn't so steep when it was here in the PFL, when you were playing here in the PFL for your first matches.
Yeah, it was a learning curve for sure because we were implementing things that I maybe wasn't that aware of from before, and also my individual stuff, because you need a bit of a different mentality when you're going overseas to play, because suddenly you're away from the safe environment, as back home with your friends and close family, stuff like that. So it was a big learning curve for me going into the Philippines and PFL. And also you have some really good quality players in the PFL as well that has experience from really good level. So I learned a lot of things playing there in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Who would have thought, Simon, you're in football now, playing bandy, very interesting sport. That's something maybe we can just explore bandy, a sport that is so foreign to us, and it's great for us to learn from you. But
we can ask Lance in the future about that sport.
Maybe he would though. Lance is our walking Google analytics guy. Yeah. He's like
and
our
we can have Simon
encyclopedia.
again to teach about bandy.
Yeah, that would be great. and then Jay, try natin sa SM, di ba?
Nah, you just go do it. You just go.
Okay.
Don't get me involved in your stuff, man.
Okay.
Anyway, just kidding.
Yeah, because I'm doing the sports challenges next time our show goes on video, okay? Anyway, let's go to the quick fire round. I'm like the warm-up. I'm the nice guy. Jay is the hard guy. Jay makes life difficult for our guests. Hey, that's true. Okay, here we go.
Anyways,
Start out slowly.
What is your questions here, Simon?
Yeah,
Just
I'll do the warm-up.
2 quick answers. No need for explanation.
Yeah, that's how the quick fire goes.
Yeah.
So first, before I go to question 2, your favorite restaurant in the Philippines?
Salad Stop.
Oh, healthy, yeah.
Ooh.
Salad Stop made me like salad, actually. Growing up, it was a challenge.
In my defense, I only had the Foodora available during my time in the Philippines because of the lockdown.
Okay, so you gotta try more. You gotta try more.
That shop. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll join you.
Okay, so you get to go to Salad Stop, but let's say it's eat all you can. It's a buffet when things are safe. Name 3 players you get to bring, whether it be ADT, from Barum, you name it.
I think it must be Kainoa Bailey, Christian Rontini, and former teammate of mine in Barum, Jon Rønning, because he eats a lot.
He eats a lot.
Yeah.
Is he the
Are
type
those
of
3 guys something that you won't defeat in an eating contest?
Yeah, I won't defeat him in an eating contest because he has a big appetite. But the really fun thing is he's a beast. He's like a look at Holland. He's that kind of beast, even though he eats a lot.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing. So that's why I need to bring him to Salad Stop.
Okay. I see he's the type of guy who finishes all your food when you're all done, right? And you're full.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one again, your football idol, like growing up all time, whether it be someone playing in Europe or you name it.
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard. Okay. Leads us to our next question.
Okay.
This is the type of question of Claudia normally. Your house is burning, let's just say, but we hope it doesn't. You can only
Knock on
grab
wood.
one jersey. It's either your ADT jersey or a signed jersey of Frank Lampard. Pick one.
Signed jersey of Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard. Okay.
Because I have a spare ADT jersey back in Manila.
Yeah. Wise choice.
The kit man got you covered, ADT.
Yeah.
Okay. So before I'll
That's
pass
wise
it on
choice.
to you, Jay, I have my last 2.
Mhm.
What is the first thing you do after your post-game huddle? So you talk to Coach Scott and everything, tells you, okay, this is what we did good, this is what we did bad, and you're done. What is the first thing you do after?
Except for getting my recovery meal in, I always rewatch the whole game when I get back home.
Oh,
Scouting.
football never stops.
Your scouting reports.
Yeah. Football never stops.
Mhm. Okay, Jay,
Okay, claro.
before I pass
Okay,
it to you, the hardest
Okay.
player to mark in the PFL?
Must be Odawara.
Odawara. That's a good choice.
Odawara.
It's so hard to get close to him. The moment you run to him, he's going to release the ball already and find the guy. Actually, yeah. Odawara, good choice.
Odawara or Shroki. I thought you meant set pieces. So in set pieces, Odawara, but on the pitch, I think Shroki does well with the ball.
Shroki. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the two answers at least. Showing us the analytical side. We know the two. Okay, Jay. Pass the ball to you.
Okay, just a couple of questions. First off, when you get back here in the Philippines, what is the first thing that you're going to visit? The beach or the pitch?
The beach. Because I wanted to do it during the 2020, but I wasn't able because of the pandemic.
Okay.
I knew that. I knew he was going to say that. I mean, gotta check Simon's Instagram account. The majority of his posts there about the Philippines relate to the beach, right? Because it's something I'm pretty sure that you can't get enough of here in the Philippines. Anyways, last quick question. I don't know how I would say this, or I don't really know how you would answer this, but can you give me 5 words, 5 non-pronoun words, or something like of a meaning, 5 words that Stefan Schrock barks at you guys in your match in the PFL 2020. 5 words. It can be not a complete sentence. It's okay. Just 5 words, but the non-words are not allowed.
Yeah. Pretty much something he'd say to you guys.
Yeah.
It's hard to answer because it's like in the heat of the moment and you're trying to get under your opponent's skin. So, but when people are shouting at me on the pitch trying to trash talk, I don't really register it. It's like in here and out there. But I mean, there's always a lot of talking on the pitch. So what we're exactly saying to each other, it's hard to tell because it comes out so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the same with other players. It's just in here. The same if we're talking back to one guy, we'll just go in here for him and out there. And so it's not easy to register because you're all in the heat of the moment and focused on the game.
Yeah.
So it's a hard question to answer.
Yes. But it's a recognition that Shrocky indeed was barking at you guys all match long, right?
Yeah, I think you've seen the picture that the PFL posted that with me and Shrocky quote this. Yeah.
He was barking at you. That was one thing that I would like to ask you, but I'm pretty sure that again you've said it's a heat of the moment. I'm pretty sure that you have forgotten what he said right after the match because you were all doing high fives already after the match.
Yeah. Yeah,
so
it's like what's happening on the pitch stays on the pitch. It's not that you're bringing the angriness out from the pitch.
Yes.
You leave it there on the field.
Okay, so I need an answer. So I'm gonna ask this question right here. If you're the goalkeeper, you're a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout.
Let's just say,
who do you think? Yeah, who do you think is easier to stop, Shrocky or your teammate Harvey Gayoso?
Oh, that's tough. That's tough. I will run away. I'll dig a hole.
You're putting me in the corner here.
Okay, while Simon thinks, I say I'm gonna dig a hole. Jay, what's your answer?
That's tough. Even me,
I gave an answer.
But I'm gonna go with the veteran. I'm gonna go with the veteran. I mean, I'm gonna go with Shrocky. I mean, with his playing experience, I know Harvey's gonna be a great player, but with all his experience right here, he has a lot of tricks under his sleeve. So with that premise, I'm gonna go with Shrocky.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, Simon. You played with Harvey. You played against Shrocky. Shrocky.
I think I have an answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know where Harvey will shoot because I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's enough answer.
Harvey first, and then eventually you get the chance to figure out shopkeeper, of course.
Yes.
Good answer.
Anyways,
good answer.
Yeah. Anyway, Simon, we're going to wrap up. So when can we see you next time?
Whenever you want, just give me a call.
Okay.
Yes, but that's about any future plans here in 2021. Are you coming back into the Philippines? SEA Games on the horizon, perhaps?
I'm too old for the SEA Games right now. But what's happening with the 2021 season, I'm not totally sure of quite yet. I know there have been some clubs here as well as in the Philippines, but I've yet to decide. So I just need some time to think and figure out things before I make a decision.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good. Sounds good.
So before I wrap up, Simon, maybe you want to say thank you or salamat
Yeah, quick
to
shout outs.
maybe you have any friends back home in Norway or any friends here in the Philippines, your family. Yeah, say thank you, tusentak salamat to them, maybe.
Yeah. First of all, maraming salamat sa having me
Uh-huh.
on the show. It was really fun, and
Thank
I
you
will
too.
also thank all the supporters that's been watching the games last year, and also for coping out with this whole pandemic situation, and also to my family and friends back in Norway and the Philippines, and also to my teammates. It's been a great year, even though it was a pandemic.
His Tagalog is so underrated, claro.
It's underrated, that's true.
Tagalog, yes. His Tagalog is so. His Tagalog accent also underrated, so perfect.
Yeah.
You
Maybe
gotta know.
Simon,
You gotta know more.
maybe Simon's better than Claudia and I in speaking Tagalog, right? Okay.
See?
Okay. So that wraps up
Soon.
our episode for Who the Heck Are We,
Simon,
Simon.
thank you very much.
Thank you again for coming
you
on.
Thank you for having me.
If you like this
Yeah.
episode, give us 5 stars and hit the subscribe button. If you don't like it, still give us 5 stars and hit the subscribe button. Catch us
And
on
share it
social
anyways.
media. That's true. Don't forget to share. Like, share, and subscribe. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram at Who the Heck Are We _PH. Bye for now. Thanks again, Simon.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you.